Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon and today we're back with another Enlisted Squad review. In today's case, we have the newest Enlisted Event Squad, which is the 600th Parachute Battalion of Panzer Brigade 150. In this video, we're going to be doing the history, the weapons, the stats, the perks, and suggestions. That said, this video has been made possible for the friends at Discord, meaning if you haven't liked, subscribed, or joined Discord, I highly suggest that you do. With that said, let's get started. Starting with the history, the Panzer Brigade 150, or the SS Panzer Brigade 150, was a formation of the German army during World War II that was formed to participate in the Ardennes offensives. This was the unit that was unusual in the sense that this brigade had around 2,500 men, of which 1,000 were from the army, 500 from the Waffen-SS, 800 from the Luftwaffe, and 200 from the Kriegsmarine. It was tasked with capturing the bridges during Operation Watch on the Rhine, and the brigade was known for including English speakers, wearing American uniforms to cause disruption and disinformation behind American lines. This unit was supposed to be modified to resemble Allied armored vehicles, which in total it requested, notice how I said requested, around 15 tanks, 20 armored cars, 20 self-propelled guns, 100 jeeps, and 40 motorcycles, and 120 trucks. Only 2 were delivered, and those were 2 Sherman tanks, of which none of them saw action. Hence, Otto Skorzeny, who was made commander of this unit, had to rely on German Stugs and Panthers. Moving on, the operation itself, Operation Grief, started with the brigade holding up in massive traffic jams thanks to the German offensive itself. After losing 2 days thanks to traffic jams, the original goal of the brigade was more or less to give up and to fight as a regular formation. It was then given the task of capturing Malmedy, but a deserter warned the US forces of the plans, and the attack was met with heavy fire and the Germans were forced to retreat. Even during the retreat, the US artillery took a heavy toll on the unit. Otto Skorzeny himself was hit by shrapnel. After the war, with the unit having perceived no major significant damage on the Allied forces, Otto Skorzeny was still tried as war crimes in the Dachau trials in 1947 for violating the laws of war during the Battle of the Bulge. He and 9 officers of Panzer Brigade 150 were charged with using American uniforms and using treachery upon and firing upon and killing members of the United States Army. And he was also charged by crimes of which he obtained the use of American and British uniforms. So let's move on to the weapon that Enlisted has just given to us. And this is going to be the Grossfuss Sturmgewehr, which is a prototype assault weapon used during World War II by Kurt Horn and the Grossfuss company, better known as the STG Horn. This was also the company that made the famous MG42. During the war, the Germans wanted a simple blowback principle operation using the ammunition and cartridges of the NKB-42H. It must have at least a rate of 500 rounds per minute, and have a mass of 4 kilograms, and have the same barrel and overall length as the MKB-42H. The requirement was to use a blowback and simple prototype operation for asking a gun that was to be cheaply built. Notice the emphasis on cheaply built. To solve most of these issues, Horn decided to use a procedure called the gas-delayed blowback. In this instance, the gas-delayed blowback was part of the gases escaping from the chamber were redirected to the direct opposite of the rearward motion of the bolt, their pressure pushing against a piston, and then thus decelerating and the rearward motion of the latter allowing the next bullet to come up and shoot. During trials, the captured Grossfuss Sturmgewehr, or the Horn STG, was tested by GAU, the Soviets. It would fire around 1,900 rounds without stoppages. Its accuracy was basically on par with the MP-42, even though the length of the sighting line was considerably shorter. Moving on, let's move on to the gun itself. In terms of the caliber, it's chambered in 7.92, it has a hit power of 8, and it has a rate of fire of 500 and a muzzle velocity of 860. Reload time of 2.9, vertical recoil of 43, and horizontal of 44, and a 30 round magazine. It is automatic and semi-automatic modes. Overall, in terms of the summary, the weapon is pretty good. The weapon is pretty solid. The rate of fire is a little bit low for my liking. To give you a description, the SCG-44's rate of fire is 650. This is 500, so that's a little bit of an issue. the vertical recoil and horizontal recoil on the STG-44 is much better than the Horn STG, with the Horn having the 43 while the STG-44 has the 39. Overall, I would rather take the STG-44 on this, but at tier 5 is still a pretty good weapon. The real issue, in my opinion, is that this is not a good squad. Speaking of which, at tier 5 you need at least 3 things. You need a fast firing weapon, you need an accurate weapon, and you need a weapon that can one-shot kill people. This squad just doesn't fit the bill. What I mean by that is that this squad is a pretty good weapon, but against low tiers it's pretty good. Against top tiers, like against the United States or the Soviets, I rather take other weapons, because the Horn STG is not a good weapon. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, the STG-44 is a much better weapon. And if you want to take the STG-44, you might as well take the FG-42 too, because that thing is one-shot kill anybody. This thing, although it's pretty good, the sights are pretty good, I'd rather just take the STG-44, because that thing is just much better. This squad is pretty interesting, but overall, I wouldn't take the squad. This is not to mention the fact that at tier 5, you're going to be facing P-47s, which can just blow you away within seconds. So it really matters on how fast you can kill people, how good you can kill people, and how quick you can kill people. And the Horn SCG isn't good enough. It's good, it's a good weapon, it's a good squad, and in my opinion, it's very good, but thanks to the new progression system, this Horn SCG doesn't cut the slack, it doesn't hit the bill. But that's it, that's all for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one.